Good morning, everybody. Orange J here with another War of the Visions video, and today we're going to talk all about our favorite old school ninja in War of the Visions, that's Kitone. Now, she's been with us the entire game, and back in the day when people were only playing like Engelbert and Orlando and Ayaka, and I was playing Eileen, there were a clever few people who were abusing Kitone. She was dodging everything, and if you did hit her, there really wasn't a bunch of damage in the game yet, so you didn't usually one-shot her. She would drain force her health back to full. She was super hard to deal with back in the day, but she's been outscaled in the last like 2.5 years, until now maybe, because she just caught this new master ability to upgrade. And you can see, yeah, she caught those like Earth Allies buffs and all of that, but really the big ticket item was, will survive fatal damage to self when HP is 70% or above. What that means is, as long as her HP is at 70% or higher, she will not die. Courage will proc, so if she's sitting at 100% HP and she gets one shot by some of these like really high damage crazy units in the game right now, it won't kill her. And as long as you can get her back above 70% HP, it will work again. So I wanted to show you guys exactly how this mechanic works and exactly a couple of things we could do here real quick to take advantage of it. Then we'll go into some team build examples and I'll show off a couple of fights and kind of just show you exactly how it works. Okay, so right now, obviously, Kitone has full HP. She's sitting there at 100% HP. So let's have Laswell, oh, I don't know, drop a ranged attack, please, Laswell. Here we go. We're going to hit her for 9,000 damage. This will one-shot her from 100% HP, except that it won't. She will pop courage and actually slow counter proc, which is kind of cool. So she didn't die. That's awesome. Now let's move everybody else kind of away from her here. And I brought Velis with me into this fight because I wanted to be able to heal her. So let's go ahead and have her pass her turn. Everybody's waiting. Velis, your turn. Heal her. Let's get a heal. All right, Velis, here we go. Snow healing. Get her back above 70% HP. Here we go. Gilgamesh, you're chilling. Here's the heal. Boom, Kitone is back above 70% health. Now, watch this. Laswell, smack her again. Blade Flash Enlightened. Here we go. 12,000 damage this time. Guess what? Courage again. So that is one obvious way to take advantage of Kitone's permanent courage. Another thing I wanted to show off is you can run something like zombie transformation on her or have a unit that can give her re-raise. Because now, let's say Velis, it's not his turn yet. Say it's the enemy Victoria's turn and Kitone's below 70% HP. No problem. Victoria runs up here, pokes her down, she dies, re-raise brings her back, and then, Gilgamesh is over here chilling, he's picking weeds or something, and then it's Velis's turn again. He can heal her back up, again, above 70% HP. Here that comes. Oh, Laswell's chilling. Boom, there's the heal, and now guess what? Gilgamesh decides to participate in the fight, and he says, I'm going to take her out. I'm going to Kotetsu her. I'm going to Kotetsu my whole team. He kills himself, but doesn't kill Kitone, because she has courage again. And so that's how this thing works. As long as you can keep her HP above that 70% threshold. Oh, by the way, she can also do things like Drain Force. Now, in this current build, she's not going to be able to heal herself enough, but Drain Force is another way of doing that. Okay, so I think that showed you how this mechanic worked. Now I want to talk about how you can take advantage of it in PvP if you want to become a Kitone enthusiast all of a sudden and start mixing her into some of your Earth teams, Evasion teams, Drain Force teams. I think there's a couple very viable builds for her right now, and I will show them both off in Arena. So the first team I want to talk about is a very re-raise and courage themed team, taking advantage of Kitone's permanent courage by adding a healer to the group to help keep her alive, going full evasion with the build, running cards like Luck up, Evasion up from Titan right here. We're going agility up with Black Rose Hellenist card, and then also again just going full on evasion. Here's more evade in the sub slot, here's more agility in the sub slot. We are going full evasion here. Now I want to mention something. My Trust Masters right now are in Guild Raid mode. I do not have any evasion Trust Masters built up, so you might not see perfect dodging in these fights. But for this version of Kitone, you come in here, I'm going to run Way of Swift Shadows. This gives her agility, luck, proc, acquired AP, and unit attack resist. And then you could also run unit attack resist. And then you could also run self-sacrifice in this build, because since we're not going Drain Force with this evasion, or at least you don't have to go Drain Force, you can leave your moves on, like Dream Within a Dream. I think you want to make sure you can cast Utsumi's Shadow. Debilitator's really good. Kitone has a lot of very good moves. Now, you can also use, like, turn on some of your moves here, like Paralyzing Edge, but you can leave Drain Force on. Give Kitone the option of healing herself, even though this is not a Drain Force team. If the enemy has a tank, Drain Force is still a very good move. Also, with this build, I think you don't want Shikuchi. I think you want self-sacrifice instead, because ideally you like Kitone to start the fight by casting Zombie TMR on herself, and then have a second turn before she's in range to cast the Utsusumi Shadow buff to give her that, like, increase in evasion. I'm running Santa Claus on her. I've got, Zazad in here. He's running Evade as well. I think you'll get to see how this team kind of works in a fight. Now, I understand that my arena rank is not very good. We'll go ahead and fight, we'll fight this Lightning team. And the point of this is not for me to show you how strong this is, because like I said, I cannot build this team at strength right now because my Trust Masters are committed to guild raids. I just want to give you an example of what you should do to build this team. So if you're already in the comment section right now typing OMG fighting elemental advantage at rank 10k, I know. I picked the fight. I know what fight I picked, and you're not enlightening anybody by telling them what's happening on the screen. Save it. Or just comment it anyway, because, I don't know, it is what it is. So, here's the thought process behind this team. Kitone has Drain Force and a healer with her, and she only has about 7,000 max HP. Because of that, if she's getting hit, there's a pretty decent chance that, like, Cloud and Esther can just pummel her all the way into the ground. So we have Yuna here to either have full life on the table if we run out of our re-raises, or to heal her up to keep her above that 70% threshold. So she basically just can't die. In theory, this Kitone should have a very, very hard time dying as long as she has access to Yuna. Now right here, she gets into range to drop Debilitator onto Esther instead of casting her Shadow buff. Zazan does get both his Courage and re-raise online, so that's good. Cloud has so many 100% hit attacks that he's just going to be really hard to deal with. And here's exactly what I was talking about. Okay, we luck out. Esther actually does not have enough accuracy to hit Kitone, so she goes for the buff on Cloud, and then Kitone Drain Forces herself back to full HP. That's really nice. Counterman Slash, we dodge that, great. Yuna is doing nothing because Yuna has nothing to do because nobody's low. Zazan can't get in range. Kitone's putting on the 1v3 showcase right now, but here's Cloud. Cloud is always going to be able to hit you when you're running Evade, so something to keep in mind, but there's the second Drain Force, 6,251 damage Drain Force. That's really nice. Keep in mind that is not getting helped by Elemental Advantage. It is a non-elemental skill. It is also only blocked by things like Unit Attack Resist. Okay, Unit gets popped, but we have so much Courage and re-raise on this team, you have to kill everybody multiple times. Zazan's out here trying to work Abara over. Kitone's turn, 17 AP left. She will take Abara down. A nice thing about this full evasion build is that you have Kitone using a weapon. In the full Drain Force build, I actually don't have Kitone equip a weapon. The drawback there is if the fight runs late and Kitone's the only one left alive and she runs out of Drain Forces, she doesn't have these decent auto attacks backing that up. Because in this group she had a weapon equipped, she's in there and even if she ran out of attacks or whatever, the auto attacks for her will still hurt. When we look at the Drain Force team here in a minute, I go full HP build. Alright, now let's take a look at the Drain Force team and notice immediately the gear. We've swapped out our evasion gear, we've taken off the weapon, and instead we are just going for maximum HP. We've gotten Kitone up to about 8.8k, and when the fight starts, these Flan earrings will kick in with this buff, so for the first 3 turns, she will get another max HP up 25%. If we look at her skills, we've swapped out self-sacrifice for Shikuchi. We want her to spend her first turn casting her zombie TMR. Then we want her in range to start fighting straight away. So Shikuchi will help her do that, taking advantage of these Flan earrings. I think this build, by the way, will be much more effective on slightly shorter maps than our current arena map, but I think it's probably the stronger of the 2 builds, especially since I think building HP and durability is easier than building evasion for a lot of people. We've We've swapped Zazon into his bruiser form as well, and then we've swapped Yuna out for Oberon, giving us a little more damage, right? Whereas Yuna was providing some healing, a little bit more sustain, now we're a little bit scarier in terms of raw DPS, and since we're not relying on evade, our options for who we bring along are a lot bigger. I could have opted in for another Drain Force user, somebody like Eileen, but Eileen really struggles on this map as a Drain Force user because it's too big of a space for her to close. Drain Force has a short range. Eileen does not have an agility buff or a move buff. Eileen has issues, let's just say, and this map kind of, amplifies those issues in a little bit. So we'll leave our Drain Forcing to Kitone, and hopefully she proves just as unkillable as she did in the Evasion build. Now the enemy team is running Joker, Kayn, and Cloud, a very scary team right here. Joker has 100% hit attacks, so does Cloud. So even if we were running Evade, it would still be scary here. Kayn is always a wild card to me. Whenever I see Kayn, I'm always a little bit freaked out. Now here's our first Drain Force. What do we get? 6,300 damage from Kitone with that Drain Force. That's very nice. Didn't one-shot the Kayn, but took him to like maybe 15%. Cloud comes in, triple slash. Note, Kitone didn't take a ton of damage from that. She's going to get also then hit by the Swift Strike right here, taking her very, very low. This is one of the dangers of this build. We don't have a unit to top her off, and since she's under 70% HP, she gets killed without her courage proccing. But she has the re-raise backing her up, so she comes back to life, and now she's going to Drain Force, and guess what? It one-shots Cloud for 8,000 damage, and heals her back to full, reactivating her courage. So if Joker like one-shots her right here, which he did not, she would have lived, and this is a very hard girl to kill. Plus, we have units like Zazon and Oberon backing us up. The Drain Force showed up though. Those 6,000 to 8,000 HP hits on that Drain Force, which was pretty OP. We win the fight. Again, noting like we're not top 1,000 in arena right here. The teams we were fighting probably weren't like optimally geared out, but still I think that can show you the couple of builds that I think you could run to take advantage of Kitone's new Master Ability 2, and I hope it was a fun video to watch. So if you enjoyed it, please click that like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and let's do an account review, because we've got one of those coming in next. And today's bonus account review comes to us from Laushin in Discord or Celia in-game, and here's the story with Celia's account. So, some general things about the account. Only been playing since May 1st, so about 2.5 months of gameplay into this account at this point. Starting to hit a roadblock in content. So what I'm reading there is that you've pushed through the main story and have cleared some of the stuff that's like been coming out, so you're looking for kind of what to do next. Okay, we'll talk about that. You want to start tackling that higher end content. Earth, Wind, and Ice are all skipped, so we will go over those really briefly, just mostly skip over them. Lightning is the element you would like to work on the most because Final Fantasy 13 is coming out soon. We'll look at that, but you feel like Dark is your strongest element currently, and you are dang right about that. Like, I've looked at this already. You're dang right about that. And no Viz because you rolled for Yuna and missed, and it broke you. Okay, so let's start with the first tip. Rolling for units if you can't go to pity is something that just burns people all the time. I know it's easy for me to say, hey, don't roll unless you have enough Visior that you're like able to go to pity or you're willing to spend enough money to go to pity, but if Lightning in Final Fantasy 13 is your next target unit, I would really start focusing on saving up as much Visior as you could, just in case you have to pity Lightning when that event rolls around. That's my tip there. If Lightning is the focus of your account, Lightning the unit, start saving now, try to get to that 40-ish K mark so you can pity Lightning during her event, and then still have some Visior left, while the event's running to max her out. So, okay, Royal Rank 6 right now. I believe you might have spent a little bit of money to be Royal Rank 6 already. Not 100% sure on that, but okay. Again, Royal Rank 8 is the only one that eventually matters at all, but don't rush there. Next up, you are Silver in every element. So even though you've skipped a lot of elements like Earth, Wind, and Ice, you still have been like leveling these units passively, getting those mastery rewards, so that's good. Now let's look at the elements that aren't hard skips for you. Fire. I think your fire is maybe closer than you feel like it is, especially if you wanted to clear some like high-end fire solo content someday, like, where you get those score quests to earn more TMR medals, that kind of thing. Rain, Valentine's Day, Ildira, and King Mont are kind of, like, these two especially are top tier fire. Rain's not that far behind. And then you have somebody like Luartha who you can build through the Mog Metal Shop, who would be a nice addition to this team. Then you could just piece in any other fire unit that you wanted and you'd kind of be set there. Someday maybe you could get Minwu up by working on fire selection, but your MR and SRs are pretty far away. I do like the King Mont Valentine's Day Ildira. I would keep working on those if I were you, as an investment into the future of the account. Okay, Lightning. This is what you want your main account to be once Final Fantasy 13 rolls around. Resnick is a phenomenal start. You've already got her to 107. Keep building her up. Charlotte, she's at 45 right now. Push her. Try to get Charlotte and Resnick done by the time Lightning gets here if you can, and if you can't, just continue to work on them. You have the whole time while you're building Lightning and the rest of the future of your account to get them done. But I would focus on those two straight away. You also have Esther, who is absolutely a top tier unit in this game. I would definitely have her in my guild barracks right now. That was a phenomenal catch, so good job there. So if I was focusing on Lightning and I was you, Esther, Charlotte, Resnick would be the three. Then you have Lightning, the unit, coming out during FF13. Anyone else you wanted to add to that for your fifth would be just fine. So good job with your Lightning. It's set up to eventually be really good, but like you mentioned, it's definitely not your strongest right now. For your water, you do have Asterius. I would just keep building him up. Your water PvE is not that far away. You would need to maybe get Titus a little bit more built up sometime in the future. Ramada has Steel Time. Asterius is a god of PvE. Ildira is another unit who you can build through the Mog Shop. And in fact, looking at your account, I would actually recommend that you build Ildira up fairly soon, with those Mog medals, because you don't really have a very good support unit outside of Resnick. And while she's a very good buffer, her healing is limited when compared to somebody like Ildira, in my opinion. So I would level Ildira up as somebody who can, one, maybe solo some multi-quests for you. Calculators, arithmeticians are very, very good at that, and she can be a great support for you. Farm is another great PvE unit. So for water for you, your PvE is not that far away. Asterius, Ramada, Titus, Farm, and Ildira are a great little core to that. And eventually someday, if you can get Raychez built up by doing water selection, she's also a very good unit. Okay, your light. You have a 120 Lucio. So right now, he's probably in almost all of your teams because a 120 Lucio is just so strong. The rest of your light is definitely behind. Fina, though, is another great option for a healer, for a support. Even if it's not mono light, she can plug in and do the job until you get a better one. Engelbert is still a great tank in the game. Your Starlight Elena, you got her, that's great. She's at 74. I would continue building her, maybe through the guild barracks, something like that as you can. Violet's event is over. You have her at 102. She could still be somebody to kind of piece in here and there, but we'll probably get a rerun of Persona 5 someday, so maybe you could finish her then. I think your light is not nearly as far done as your dark is. Your dark's in such a good spot. But Jaden, Elena, Engelbert would be just fine units to work on. And if you wanted to eventually run a PvP light team, Lucia, Elena, Jaden, Lucia, Elena, Engelbert, something like that would be a good team to maybe make happen someday. And then here's your dark. So yes, your dark units, and then more importantly, your dark vision cards and espers, which we'll see here in a minute, are very far ahead of the rest of your elements. So Little Leela Joker is the power duo in the game right now. You already have Little Leela at 115, and just keep pushing this Joker. I don't know what you have in terms of shards or mind spheres available for him right now, but have this dude in your barracks, get him leveled up because he combos so well with the 115 Little Leela that you have here. You also have Shadow Lynx at 110, more on that here in a minute. You got regular Stern at 99. Get this Jiza up for those bells. Ruin Stern would be worth working on. And then let's talk a little bit about Shadow Lynx, because I think this account, if you're going for a 5-man dark PvP team, or PvE team, excuse me, it's not very far away, especially considering Shadow Lynx can get you a 120 Lamega all by herself. You have Shadow Links at 110, which is high enough to do it if you have the Vision Cards, Gear, and Espers. We will talk about that more here in a minute. So for your Dark, I would keep building these two for sure. Get Jiza up there. Keep working on Ruinstern as much as you can. Lemure is eventually someone who's a really top-end PvP support, but you know, I just don't know, at only level 45, I would work on Lemure if I was you. That's kind of a lot of units, but I hope by looking at your units, that kind of gives you an idea of what I would recommend working on. Obviously, if you could catch one unit for this, I would say Black Rose Helena and Black Rose Helena's Vision Card would be an awesome addition to your Dark team. That would be my like kind of #1 addition to your Dark. But let's continue. Okay, next up we have Vision Cards, and right here you can see again you got the 99, our newest, you know, the Seymour Summon Vision Card, Anima, and then the 85 Joker VC. So something that I think would be a tip for the future, when there's a limited Vision Card out, right, like a Persona 5 card, you can't really work on that card once the event ends. So if you're going to invest into the card, do try to get it finished during the event. Obviously right now that Vision Card is one of your strongest, so you're still going to get a lot of use out of this card for the like foreseeable future, but it will just be a while until you can finish maxing it out, like until we get another Persona 5 collaboration, which could be years into the future if at all. So that's just something to keep in mind. Outside of that, definitely, I mean, you got Valifor to keep working on. That's good. You have the PvE card right here, leveled at 99, the damage limit up card. That will pay dividends a lot later when you can do some higher end PvP. Until then, you have two nice Dark Vision cards right here, and you could look to start supplementing those with Rainbow UR Vision cards or MR Vision cards. So as we look through right here, let's start with this last page actually. Solidus is a great slash resist card for PvE, or for PvP. Ramu is a great magic up card that's Rainbow. You have Typhoon, another good magic up and accuracy card for Rainbow. Single target resist from Odin is nice. You're skipping Earth, so forget about the Camilo card. And then we start getting into some MR cards. There are a lot of MR cards to go through. I'm not going to go through each one of them right now. I just want to say that as you're playing more, as you're doing polls, you will just start to accumulate MR Vision card shards. Do not feel like you are wasting materials by leveling up MR cards. I still use them today, especially in some of those higher end PvE teams, because they sometimes give you stuff like elemental damage against a certain element or something like that, and that's sometimes the only place you can get those buffs is from MR cards. So they're very decent, especially as bridging the gap until you get more UR cards built up. In my mind, Vision cards are the third thing that you will start building when you're increasing your account as a new player. First is units, which you can see you're already well on the way. Second is espers, which we're going to look at next. And third, just over time, as Vision cards come out, as you find ones that you need for your account and start maxing them out, your Vision card game comes along the line, but you will also just be able to piece in your MR cards along the way. Okay, then here's kind of another page right here. This is a very good card. For example, Kitone's card, slash attack up with agility for the unit using it. That's a good example of a very nice MR card. Lightning Kitty is a great lightning MR card. I would get that one built up for your future lightning account. Echoing Screams as a rainbow card. It'll be a while before you build that one though. So just kind of look at these, figure out which ones are good for your team and build them up. Don't feel like you're wasting anything there. Espers. Good job on your Espers. You're getting some max out ones, including Demon Chimera and Behemoth, two Dark Espers. Demon Chimera being a very good Evasion Esper as well. So if we're thinking about that Shadow Links and getting that Lemega to level 99 with just her, get your Demon Chimera equipped right there. For Vision cards, you're a little bit behind. Like, I don't believe it's currently farmable right now, Demon Chimera. You only have it at level 40, so I don't know if that would give you enough extra evade. It'd be worth trying to see if it worked. Otherwise, you could just go for more raw power with like one of your higher level Vision cards, but you have the Esper ready with Demon Chimera. And then Sage's Hat is something that's always farmable in the game for a piece of Evasion gear. I think you could probably do the Shadow Link solo Dark Selection clear with what you have. At least it would be something fun worth trying. I have a video of that on my channel. So keep working on Typhoon and Odin for sure. let's talk about some lightning espers for you. This would be a good one for your Resnick, so keep working on this boy right here. Let's keep looking, because lightning is kind of your focus. Lightning Kitty. Yeah, Lightning Kitty is very, very good for your physical damage lightning units. Here's Seymour Summon again, Anima. That'll be great for your dark people, so good job there. Otherwise, you do have, yeah, you also have Ramu, who's a good magic lightning esper as well, but Resnick being your only lightning mage right now, you might not be worried about Ramu, since you already have your rope up pretty far leveled. So that's kind of what I'd focus on here. Leveling up espers, you've already done a pretty good job getting these maxed out. This Odin getting to 99 will be a big power spike for you as well. Typhoon's super good. So you're doing a good job with espers, and I bet you're seeing a lot of power from them, and you will continue to get power there as well. Gear. So, you have some +5 gear. You've obviously been farming a bit, right? Like, here's the Kurokasomi, the Swordbreaker, some of the newer gear at +5. Continue to farm new stuff as it comes in, and continue to target things that are farmable in those key quest rooms. Those are going to be really helpful for you. So you have some +5 weapons. Continue to build out more of those. Like, you got the +2 turfing right here. Keep working on that, etc. For armor, you have a +6 smart coat, which that's good job there. Golden armor at +6 is also really nice and permanently farmable in the game. We'll actually go look at that here in a minute. I also really like the Moonbow Battleware as a TMR armor for that agility buff that it gives. And when we look at your accessories, you're almost done with your orange sunglasses, and you have some TMRs in here that I think are really good. Emberlight Mantle, obviously really good, especially until you get those Jesus bells ready. Sweetheart's Secret Pouch, very good, high agility TMR, and I really also like Joker's Replica Mask. So I think those are the 3 TMRs you have right now that I personally would be leveling up the abilities on, and maybe putting my first batches of like Trust Stones into them once you get in to kind of farming Trust Stones. You said a couple things I forgot to mention. I have UR Trust Stones, but I'm in the process of re-rolling them. Currently in your barracks right now are Joker Violet, Resnick, Jiza, and name brand Little Leela. So specifically, really good job with Joker and on name brand Little Leela. You love to see that. Resnick, Jiza is also very good. Violet, I might switch Violet for Esther or Charlotte. I would probably pop, unless you're just a Violet fan, then, do your thing. But I would start getting your other lightning units ready for when lightning arrives. Now, I did mention that we would go look in game. So let me swap this. Let me actually put it on like full screen. Hold on. It came up there like minimized. There we go. So if you go into the far plane right here, you have these key quests, right? So here's where you can get a +6 golden armor if you want. Here's where you can get that like Sage's hat for Shadowlinks if you wanted to try that selection quest solo. Like, this is a very good sword for like your tankier two-handed users. If we go into the far plane archives, there is so much gear. Turfing's a really good sword. There's just so much gear in here that's worth farming at some point. Even in these unit quests, there's gear drops in there. And in these story quests, a lot of people don't realize, if you look on these story quests, like White Cape is farmable in this one, which, I mean, White Cape is what it is. But like Elemental Spear, for if you're an Oberon player, that's in there. So it's always worth checking these out. Go to WoTV-calc.com, and if you see a piece of gear that you're thinking about farming, look at the stats, see if it's worthwhile, and so much gear is farmable over here in the Far Plane Archives and the Key Quests. So you mentioned you were kind of running out of story, running out of current content to do. I would move here. This is where you move to as a newer player. When you're running out of story, go clear this stuff. Go farm up this gear, get your +5s, your +6s in some cases, and continue to power up your account while more new gear keeps being added into the game. And at some point, like before you know it, when raids come around, you'll be powerful enough to like farm out some raids and start getting that like +5 UR gear that's that real top end stuff. So there we go. Thank you so much, Celia, for supporting my channel. I hope this account review was enlightening. It's like 17 minutes long at this point, so I apologize for the length of these sometimes, guys. But if you enjoy them, hopefully the length isn't a big deal. And thanks for watching, everybody. I'll catch y'all next time. Peace.